Says, yeah, all right, is Renekton and Shyvana up? All right, Balls, take it. Take it away.
Yep. Something that Balls can be a lane bully on. That's all he needs.
Yeah. Especially against this Evil Geniuses team, Cloud9 should and will stick to conventional things. The preparation work on these guys is much more difficult. The most they can do is just look up their match histories. You know, ThinkCard at one point was top of the Challenger ladder solo queue, but now is currently around rank 100. Robert X. Lee as an AD carry as well. There's a lot of scouting out on him. He's been a Challenger AD carry most recently on Complexity Black in the Challengers. He was actually in the Challenger Finals against LMQ. They finished second in Challenger Series 1. And then Ken is actually playing in the Collegiate Championships under the name Fengshen. So these guys have actually been on this exact stage before, just not ThinkCard.
Definitely plays a big role when you're up against a team like Cloud9 who has international stage experience. They know what it feels like. They know what the crowd brings to the table. We heard earlier the players saying when you can faintly hear the crowd, I think it was Special, it pumps you up that much more. You get a little home turf advantage, and Cloud9 will have that here already.
Yeah, and Cloud9, we talked to them yesterday after their game. They admitted that they were tired.
Yeah.
The travel is definitely tough when you go internationally, play a tournament, come back, and then just have to play the next week. It'll take its toll, but the amount of experience they would have gained, the international exposure, being able to beat a Chinese team, they beat the Taipei Assassins as well.
What they showed,
Confidence and learning, just being able to watch up close and personal, the way the KT Bolts played, how Fnatic was able to take them down. All those things Cloud9 has said have been beneficial, and that's not what EG had the luxury of doing. Even though they had the off week to practice, they're practicing on a new team and just trying to get the initial synergy down.
Initial synergy and, you know, the creation of a shot caller. Snoopy and Crepo.
Who's going to talk?
Huge voices on EG. Who's going to talk now? Especially, you know, last game, if it was given to ThinkCard, the guy who's behind usually has trouble making calls. It's not the easiest thing. Any team can go quiet when you're behind, and it becomes a very troublesome thing.
Yeah, the worst thing is on newer teams like this, especially when you're on a big stage, is people get into the mindset of someone else will make the play.
Yeah,
and everyone just kind of sits around, and then if something goes wrong, they'll be like, oh, why'd you do that? I didn't make the mistake. And then they can blame someone. Happens oftentimes when you have a small lead, but having the confidence in yourself to go and make a big play. It's actually something Pobelter's never lacked in.
No.
So that's what EG has going for him, at least.
Got him in trouble a few times, but really, more than not, pays off. We've had high kills in that kill column for Pobelter. Pretty good KDA ratio against the rest of the mid laners in the league. See a Pantheon and a Sivir picked up right away, prioritized here by Evil Geniuses. ThinkCard was on a lease yesterday, which is banned out right now, so see if he can get himself some good early game aggression on that Pantheon pick, because he was pushed out of the jungle right away.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Midos takes in the jungle as well. Elise gone, Kazak's gone.
That's true.
His top two out, his Pantheon's even taken away.
Usually he's got something for himself by now.
You would kind of expect Elise in with his last pick. But you never know in this one. They also went for Thresh instead of Morgana, despite the huge amount of success Lemon Nation had on Morgana at IM World Championships. Still conventional looking picks from Cloud9, as we thought they would have.
Keeping it strong, that white steel lane of Lucian Thresh, keeping the lore alive in League of Legends. You see Pobelter looking to lock it in. Heard a little bit about Rise lately. Ooh, switch to Jace real quick.
Ha!
With a flip finger.
Hey, top lane Jace most likely for Inox. He does do better when he plays the squishier carry top laners. However, it leaves a big void in the team as far as tanks are concerned. They don't have a single one. Pantheon can get a little bit tanky, but he needs to build a lot of attack damage first. And assuming that's a support Morgana, you're not going to get tank from your support. So they have to be very careful about how they fight here, and they're in danger. They're going to have to basically get really far ahead in the early game.
The mids, as usual, making it far down the list. I got to expect the Ziggs in here somewhere. He's made it all the way through, and we've seen quite a bit of it today. Lulu, Cassidy banned, LeBlanc banned, so you're looking at the Ziggs somewhere. Elimination is sneaking out, lock it in. Something in the jungle, something in that mid lane. Looks like could be going back to Zed for high. Edios picks up the Evelyn.
Yeah, Evelyn against a team of squishies is pretty nice, actually. He'll probably be going tanky, even relying on mostly base damages. That's exactly what Cloud9 needed to be able to engage on what's going to be a very hard to pin down Evil Geniuses team. Like, EG is fast. with the Sivir and the Jace Gate, they're going to be very hard to catch, which is why Cloud9 needs a lot of dashes from the Zed and also the Eve to flank around from the backside.
Got to get a few gap closures to get in. Hopefully once Balls leaves the top lane, Slice and Dice will be enough to catch the On the Hunt, the acceleration gate. It's going to be pretty crazy. I think Card's main focus is going to be that bottom lane on Dilution and Thresh. Not the easiest lane to gank is Pantheon. But we may see the lock-in here from Pole Belter.
Kale counter Zed.
I guess it would be that Ziggs. Kale, yep, counter Zed.
Could absolutely work. Ziggs is one of the primary targets for Zed if you were to pick that. So, all right. So they got attack speed, move speed, is what EG's got, or just like ranged attackers and move speed across the board. That's a very unique looking EG composition, I think. Speed on speed, and then Cloud9 is just absolutely what you would expect out of them, trying to play as neutral as possible here. A little bit heavy on the AD, but that's not a problem at all because there's no tanks on EG to actually stack armor and punish them for it.
It's going to be a nice matchup to see. The Renekton versus Jace in the top lane will be a pretty great matchup to watch. Champs being locked in now. We're going to check the voting at lolesports.com. All of you participating clicked 84% in favor of Cloud9 for this matchup, 16% obviously for EG. We'll have to see if they can flip that around and give themselves a win this game, though. EG is one of those teams, as you know, Dyrus was saying about Dignitas. They can really pull out a wild card thing and turn the tables.
Yeah, this EG team is going to need to pull out multiple wild cards. They need 5 of them. At this point. You know, Pole Belter and Inox have been looked at as wild cards in the past. Think Cards probably has a wild card.
Ooh.
At some point.
See that.
Right there. He's up against Meteos right now, which will be rather difficult for him.
Yep.
Meteos has lost his blonde hair, but he's remained effective, despite.
He's hidden his Saiyan mode.
Yeah.
Now he's just a normal person walking amongst us.
He's conserving energy.
Right? So we think. Yeah. So with these guys heading into the match, you got to figure for Think Card. Yeah, he was up against Dexter yesterday, right? But we even saw in the tweets, who are you most afraid to face? Somebody threw up Meteos in there because what did he say on Reddit? When your team is winning, go fight the other jungler. It's because he likes to fight you more than to fight any of the other lanes, and that's why you should be afraid of him. Cloud9 versus Evil Geniuses on to the Rift. Let's get this game going. Last one here of week 9. We are so far into this split, almost done with it. And EG looking to scrape themselves back up to the top of the ladder here. They got to get wins. They got to start now, and it's going to be a tough week with their matchups.
Right off the bat, Health Crystal start for Elimination, something he's done before on Thresh. Rushing a Sightstone fairly early on in the game. They're going to need that for Jungle Pantheon ganks, pre-6. And then the Spell Thieves coming up from Morgana. That's one of the big things that encourages her popularity. So easy for her to get the golden damage out of it just by putting out a Tormented Soil.
Actually saw Elimination using that on Zyra last game. Helped him grab up a good bit of gold.
Yeah, Zyra's one of the better ones with it as well.
Yeah.
Plants will proc the passive for you. Makes the activation very easy. Looking painless. I want to see some support Brand, actually. Eventually.
Oh.
We've never seen Brand in the LCS.
Do ya?
Yeah. Never seen him in the LCS, but he is fantastic with the Spell Thieves, early harass-wise. You get one spell down, you get all 3 of them out because it's passive. It'll tick for you.
Would have thought maybe Reginald, but that's retired now.
I know. I think Brand has actually been banned in the LCS, just never picked.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Back in the first week. Something like that, Jazz.
Too bad.
Would have been great to see. Good old Pyroclasms. Inox getting a little bit of a particle bug here. He's going to get restarted into the game. Nobody really has too much in mind to start it off. We're probably going to get that line of scrimmage set up by both. But we've had more invasions because of our 2v1s coming in. So maybe we'll see a little bit of that coming in. EG has been the team to try things in the early game.
Yes. That was also when they had Crepo.
Yeah, with their shot
evil
callers.
Mastermind.
Yep.
And Snoopy in there. I actually thought when I saw Crepo in a black blazer and black suit at IM that he looked a bit like a supervillain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did.
All right, at least you agree. But they don't have him. They don't have his mind.
God, I got a yes and, Jad.
Yeah, you got to just agree with everything you say. But they don't have that here, especially with the solo queue setup they have. And now this unfortunate early game delay for Inox. Hopefully that particle bug will be all fixed up.
Yep. And the mentality of the players we've actually spoken to dominate with Voyboy's issues of not being present in the early game, which caused a bit of a delay. So this portion of time is where they use to, reassess what's going on, get an idea of what they've seen. Now that they're going into the map, will say, maybe we do want to do something here because it's going to be a tough game. Cloud9, they're going to have to be pushed off that equal point to start off this game. If they get ahead at all, it's going to be EG trying to make an impact the whole time, and that's hard against Cloud9.
And Cloud9 is just so organized in these games. If they do get an edge in the laning phase, which they're usually likely to get, they will be able to punish early and often, especially with that jungle Evelyn coming out from wherever you want. When Odd One plays Eve as well, he does a lot of early game farming, not necessarily a huge amount of early game ganking, and then he comes in, and that requires very strong laners to pull off. Good thing Cloud9 has strong laners.
That is a good point. Yep. They take, Renekton for balls in the top lane. We said he will always get a bully, whether it's Shyvana, whether it's Renekton. He really hasn't kind of strayed too far from that. He did try a Gragas once, did not work out for him. It's kind of crazy. You put so much strength in a player like Balls in the top lane, but then he kind of fails on the Gragas. And then you put Quaz on those players that Balls is strong on, but he's better on the Gragas types. Everybody has their own
balance.
Yep. Everybody has their own way of doing things. We'll see how that matchup actually goes for a Jace. I'm interested to see that. Usually it's just a wet noodle fight up top when they're on an island, and nobody can really do anything up until that late portion of the game. But right now, a little bit of movement towards the bottom side here. I think it's just going to be a hold on the blue buff. I don't think that we have Sneaky or Lemon Nation making a move.
It's interesting that both the Cloud9 solo laners started with Thorn Shields as well. They're definitely trying to take advantage of that auto attack passive because both Inox and Pobelter are going to be swinging a lot of auto attacks at them early on in the game. There's actually a chance that EG could win those solo lanes just if they outplay better. Kayle and Jace are both really strong early at laning if they play it right. It's a smart composition for this particular Evil Geniuses team to play. Doesn't require a huge amount of team play. It's just like a bunch of carries that can get ahead and maybe zerg people down. They get a lead, they're going to have so much move speed, so much poke, and so much damage that they're going to just be able to crush the Cloud9 team. And if they fall behind, yeah, they're going to have issues. But they were going to have issues anyway because they don't have the team play synergy together yet.
Inox coming into this lane, getting a quick clear in the early part so he could focus his auto attacks on Balls and not on CS because he'd already cleared it out. A little cheeky play to get a health up in the lane, but it looks like Balls will be all right there. 3 minutes in, it looks like Pobelter's trying to do the same thing, but Meteos not playing the odd one style. He's playing the attack style. Level 3 coming in. The black shield goes down very early there. Maybe able to get that off here. The flash and the flake comes in, and it's going to be just enough. The boomerang coming back. A few more hate spikes. The red buff could have done it, but Elimination wants to take that one for himself.
Little side flash there by Meteos, not wanting to get hit by the Dark Binding. Thinkar trying to gank his own.
Slice.
Not so much.
Out. He'll be safe on that one. So quite a risky play by Cloud9.
Yeah.
They knew they had
Meteos went down to a sliver in that game.
Get himself out. Almost lost the buffs. Probably would have been calculated and transferred over to Lemon Nation. It wouldn't have been too sad there, but it works out in the early game. Not good for Evil Geniuses. Still see if Thinkard can make some presence from the jungle.
Yeah, and it's important to note that that was a pre-level 4 gank, so the first blood and kill value wasn't at its full level. It wasn't a 600 full gold. It was somewhere between 60 and 100% of that because it scales from 2 minutes to 4 minutes for that value. What it does provide, though, is just extra time in the lane for Cloud9, and it means Ken is really far behind. He just hit level 2 on Morgana in that bot lane.
It's like Thinkard now having an easier jungle. We know by now Thinkard was still level 1 in the previous game we watched him, or I should say his first game that he played. The Nation just walking on over. They don't decide to even get any damage down onto him, but they're going to stay anyways. Robert's pretty low on mana here. Yeah,
Robert had stuck around, and he wants to go back and buy his... he doesn't actually have enough for Vamp Scepter, just to match Sneaky and items, I think is his goal.
4-minute Sightstone means Sweeper coming out as well for Lemon, and he starts to clear out the bottom lane. Meteos is going to have a repeat visit quite soon.
Yeah, that also means that Thinkard's going to have a whole bunch of trouble ganking pre-6 in that lane.
Yeah. Oh.
Find the pink.
Walk in. Nope, not this time. Elimination walks on by, and Ken has to know he is a little too far up for not seeing another person in the lane. This is going to be quite bad for him. He does have the shield, but he doesn't know that Meteos is there as well. That's when he goes, oh, yeah, there's 3. Sneaky, able to pick that one up for himself. And that's just Cloud9 working on the bottom lane once again.
That's got to be, I feel like that's just big game jitters at this point. He already had a bad start. He's kind of on tilt. You can see he kind of took his hands off his keyboard, put him on his head after that. He realized afterwards how bad his positioning was for that situation, how he should have just been more passive.
Trying to stay within that experience range. Got him killed. Sneaky. Oh, not Sneaky. I see Jason. I say Sneaky. Inox in the top lane versus Balls here. We got 36-32, and Inox has already gone back, got himself to stack up the tier. Going for that late game.
Yeah, and I mean, the solo lanes are performing how EG wants them to. Tier on Jace, 40-33. Pobelter there, 44-30 in the mid lane. Pobelter actually doing a number early on high. Obviously, Meteos' attention was in the bottom lane, and they're winning there. But just laning-wise, these Kayle and Jace picks for EG are working out, despite the team being down 2 kills.
Good bit of damage over onto Pobelter. He'll be able to heal that up quite nicely. I don't know when High is going to try to go full on that engagement. Either push Pobelter out or try to get the kill. Scare him off using that intervention in the right time. Bottom lane, again, is going to get some more focus. Maybe from Meteos. He's down by the golems, but Thinkcard is in the right spot. Actually, he's only 4, so he won't be able to ult onto a fight.
Meteos' ward coverage is just really nice.
Yeah.
He sees everywhere Thinkcard's going, especially when they're able to get the kills. It gave Elimination more time to put wards into the jungle there. And it just completely shuts down Thinkcard's ability to help bot lane. He sees one.
Huzzah! Got it out. 7 minutes in, Meteos return trip as well. He's got round trip tickets all day to bottom lane. 2-0 right now, and he has helped to get both of those kills. Inox, dashes out, doesn't take the shock blast, tries to get the vertical shot on, but no good. Still working that sightstone in the bottom lane is just causing Thinkcard to have to be doing his own thing.
Meteos is also going to hit himself after he watches this replay, because he's walked past that pink board like 3 times in the river, especially on Eve. You need to check that brush for a pink ward, because it is the only thing that can see you. It's giving so much information back to EG.
Wow, Sneaky putting himself in the front in a 2v1 situation there, only to receive the shield from Lemon. You can see how much control they have of that bottom lane. Both top laners going pretty hard here. Like I said, it would be interesting. They can do damage, but it's going to be an outplay if one of them finishes each other off there.
Yeah, Meteos, despite the good gank's bottom.
Right.
Now that he's level 6, I actually wouldn't be too surprised if he tries to make his way up top and try to kill the squishy Jace up there. No doubt, Balls has said that he has Inox low already, and he's told him that he built that tier. So
Back
this
in the
dive could be
tier.
coming soon.
Kind of plateaus you on that damage. Doesn't really give you any health, but it'll count in the late game if you can keep yourself alive and effective. We have Meteos just on the outside here. Thinkcard could walk into some big trouble, but it looks like he heads down. Now it's Inox that's going to be in trouble.
They have to fear a little bit the Pantheon ult to come in, but they don't know that Thinkcard is on the other side of the map. They're just going to go anyway.
Oh, I don't know if Balls wanted to dice out of that as fast as he did. They're still able to get in for the rest of the damage, but he's forced to flash to get back in here. Pobelter using out that intervention, keeps himself safe from Deathmark.
It's exactly what we talked about in the pregame. Balls hits level 7, they kill the top laner.
Yep.
Teams do not have an answer for that so far. It happens so much for Cloud9.
Got to run, but nobody wants to run.
You either have to run,
Stand
you
your
have
ground.
to be there with a counter gank, or you need your mid laner to roam up there. It's a fairly reliable gank for them to go and do, yet it continues to work.
And they're kind of trying to
right
do
through
the same thing on the
What
other
is it with
side.
pink wards today?
There we go. He sees it. I don't know if he's going to want to see it, though. Puts himself close. Gets a good slow down there. Pantheon drop coming in. And that's going to be a double drop. But Pobelter's going to be dead. Thinkcard may not have wanted this just yet. And he is going to get locked up for the duration of that hook. Now the Flay. Double kill coming in for High. And that one was delivered to him. Now Meteos provides chase onto Ken. He is not going to get help from Robert Exley in the bottom lane. They are disjointed as well. And Robert's going to be alone now. He may go down if they decide to go there after Dragon.
Yeah, Elimination had a couple nice hooks there to secure more kills. And that pink ward turned itself into a bait right there. Robert Exley, he wants to desperately do something, but he is
Yeah.
Doing pretty well, actually, to hold them off by himself. Once Lucian arrives, I think he'll be pushed off the Dragon Tunnel.
There's the 1-2 shot. Sneaky will chase it in. You can see Sneaky not even taking that much for himself. The BF sword on top of the double Dorans in both buys of the 80 carry. A Dragon at 10-15. It's going to be good gold. 4,000 now ahead for Cloud9.
Remember, Kale and Zed had traded ultimates prior to this, so Pobelter did not have a way of protecting himself. And then Thinkard came in too little too late because Pobelter wasn't able to return any damage. The Pantheon coming in was really just jumping in to die.
Back to check out this top lane. See now Inox on Jace, keeping even with the lane bully that is Renekton in the early game. 80-80 in the CS, 1 death to the assist, but that was only in the 2v1 tilt of the jungle. Now it's the 2v1 tilt with the mid lane in favor of EG. Balls is going to slice into the fight. Maybe dice out, was just using the last one actually, and he goes down to Pobelter on a good roam.
Yes, smart time to go up to the top lane. Inox needed that. He just purchased a whole bunch of swords. So he wanted to try and get an advantage in the lane.
Swords. Wow.
Right there. Yeah, when you pick it up, he's probably going Brutalizer anyway. The other longsword could be a Vamp Scepter for an eventual Bloodthirster. It's not wasted, but it's just a huge amount of early power.
Oh, so close. 2 more of those shots of the culling would have been it. Oh, he gets the kill on the max range. Sneaky coming up very big there. That was awesome.
What a shot right there by Sneaky. Right through the minion wave. Robert X. Lee didn't even use barrier, didn't expect that one to land. Even more power for Cloud9's team.
What a great piercing light shot coming out from Sneaky. They're going to be getting shots on this turret. When things keep happening like that, that also ticks against your mentality. Everything working in favor of Cloud9 right now, and that's going to stop the initiations of EG.
Yeah, Cloud9 typically doesn't let up when they have a lead either. So a lot more punishment maybe coming in from EG. Trying to get rid of all these pink wards so Meteos has free reign over the map. This is just a tough situation for these 3 EG subs to come into. It's one thing to randomly have to play in the LCS. It's another to then have to play against Cloud9.
And CLG.
And CLG in the same weekend. It's a tough schedule to begin with.
Well, all the ones that are going to be putting out damage on Cloud9 right now have gotten themselves 2 kills right down the middle of Meteos, High, and Sneaky. Looks like Meteos is going to, again, take a trip down to the bottom lane. It's that time of the Rift again. Hook coming out. Robert X. Lee is going to get himself a black shield here, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. They click it off immediately, but he shields out the Flay and then gets hooked. Here comes the Pantheon drop. Thinkard coming in. He's still quite under level, or not under level, but under itemed on this. But it's enough for the team to pick up a kill, and it's what they needed.
Hey, the shutdown, and then the fight in the top lane. Ball's going on Inox.
That is going to be Inox taking quite a bit of damage. You can see just by the health bars how squishy Inox is with his build of damage. High now in the mid lane. The death mark is off, but he flashes, getting in that last E attack. Good for him. Woo. Inox is going to be going down. Cole the Meek to bring in the kill. It's going to be all around the map at a 2-for-1.
Solo lane strike back for Cloud9. Jeez. Both of them soloing their counterparts while the ganks continue to flow bottom, and they got a ward on this blue buff. Thinkard might have to fall back.
That's going to be one more attack. The Shurikens will be enough to take him out.
One more spell.
Oh! He denied the assist. That was actually pretty nice.
A little bit. He hopped back.
Dying is still not the way you want to go. 0 turrets have been taken in 13 minutes in this game, but a whole lot of blood has been shed with 13 kills in 14 minutes. Yeah. Finally, Sneaky's going to grab down this bottom turret. First one of the game.
And I think we're going to see a cascade of turrets as well, because Cloud9 has won all the lanes at this point. They've also gotten control of the jungle because of that Thinkard kill and debuff steal. So Meteos free reign, going to do even more counter jungling. And the Cloud9 team is constricting EG right now, making it so they can't go anywhere. Ooh, look at that ball lane, 71 to 126. All because Meteos just camped that lane.
I was looking at Lemonation's buy of a chain vest, so he can just keep going hard in the fights. But that's what the CS is equaled as well, yeah. Quick chain vest on the support, why not? Meteos getting out of this one safe. They're going to be able to get the vision they want in the top lane. I don't think EG is going to feel safe about pushing anywhere past the backside of their red buff. As High takes a bit of harassment from Pobelter, and he gives back the same medicine. Cloud9's now starting to group. They're going to be really starting to dictate the game. We'll see if EG can respond correctly.
Nice little catch on a High. Get some
good response
down. Still a lot of damage potential from the CG team. If Cloud9 takes unanswered poke, they would still die. It's just a matter of when Cloud9 fights that they're retaliating rather than just running away, and they will come out on top.
EG has a very explosive fight.
Yep.
A lot of speed to be had between Acceleration Gate and On the Hunt. 50 seconds for a Dragon isn't exactly where they would use a ton of speed since you're all gathered around the den. But it may be able to help them if they can get a good drop from Think Card in. Right now he has grabbed up both of those buffs, so that's going to be nothing for Pobelter. Pushed into mid lane. They've gotten all 3 of the outer turrets now as Cloud9 starts to seize the day on this map.
Almost landing a binding for Ken, but it's not been Ken's day. Getting ganked again and again by Eve. Definitely a little bit on tilt, it seems, for this EG team. But at this point, they're just against a experienced, powerful Cloud9 team. Here comes a Pantheon gank, though, trying to make something happen.
That's the drop. They actually get the stun down onto Lemon, which leaves Sneaky able to do free damage that entire time. Think Card gets out. Sneaky almost grabs himself double buffs. Now they use everything to not everything, but they just use the rest to disengage.
Side lane's pushed up. They have a low Pantheon with no ultimate. Let's see if Cloud9 decides to collapse or continue their 3-1-1 split push.
Shock Blast causing a little trouble for Balls here, but I don't know if Inox is really going to be able to get there in time with the team in the mid lane as well. He's just going to kind of sit here, soak up the minions, but they need him in mid. That's where Balls is going to be going if they want it.
Yeah, Eve is incredibly effective to play this split push game with.
Yep.
Because even though she doesn't have a real global, no one knows where she is. And it makes both of these side laners ever more threatening once they get rid of those pink wards.
Once they get rid of those pink wards, and there's that rotation right from the top lane in. Balls is going to get a ward in, so they know Jace isn't trying to come around the backside, get any shock blasts in. Inox really needed at this point to have that last whisper, to have more damage, or at least some of that armor pen to make these shock blasts count.
It was a nice thought. I think the Jace early on in the lane phase worked just fine.
Yeah.
But they got comboed. Meteos and Balls hit level 7, and they decided to kill him. Because that's what they do. And then that gave Balls enough of an edge in the lane that he could just 1v1 him. Such good synergy by Cloud9. Their game plan working well. It was just their generic game plan, too. Cloud9 didn't prepare anything special for this EG team. They're just playing their game. One of the best teams in North America.
Level advantage on every lane for Cloud9, even in the jungle as well, along with the CS going in their favor. We'll see what they can do to guard down the turrets as Cloud9 has just gotten themselves out of the base. The Mikhail's Crucible for Lemon Nation has been bought up as usual. We'll see what they can do with the rest of these items. Cloud9 likes to push it with whatever they have. They don't wait for the next core item to come in. They know they can work it at any point in time, especially with High on set getting the split push down. He calls over Pobelter. This looks like it could be a good 1-for-1 here. I don't think High is going to have... Oh, he doesn't have time to go back in on the death mark. He tried to go for the death mark and went poof.
Well, he didn't buy any boots, and Pobelter ran him down. That's the Kale pick against Zed. It's a solid last pick by Pobelter. Like I said, the picks from EG were actually pretty sound in this game. You can check this out. It's just straight up Kale damage right now. Even though High put his Blade of the Ruined King down.
Ninja Vanish.
Stayed in flash range.
Got him down.
Just an Asher's Tooth in the Magic Pen as well.
Yeah. Usually the Lich Bane will be coming out by now, but it's been such a fast and in-your-face game. EG doesn't have any turret gold in their favor. It's all been what they've been able to fend for themselves. A very back and forth. Pobelter trying to dodge. He dips, and it's going to be one less shot. He is invulnerable, and he is safe. Oh, no! He tries to get the piercing light.
Oh, no.
Meteos.
Aww. Aww. I was wondering where they're going to go with that one. It was so impressive by Pobelter. He escaped everyone, except for Meteos.
Well, Cloud9 is everywhere right now. They pretty much own both sides of the map. Those turrets are about to be signed over to Cloud9. Right now, Balls is doing what he can to have a say about this fight, and he had just took on 4 members of EG, only having to pop Dominus.
Yeah, he's a bit of a monster right now. Only 1-1-1, but the ultimate, the Sunfire Cape, and the Giant's Belt enough to just tank whatever he wants while Klein finished off the turret. Interesting difficulties of sieging here, though. 4 turrets down. They're already 20 minutes in. Cloud9's going to want to win this one pretty soon.
High back to the mid lane. That's why maybe walking up towards the top after he clears this one to get the split push back on. And it looks like EG is going to have to now react. That's Inox buying in the base. Maybe trying to get another sword for himself, but he's actually just waiting on it to come out. He got a ward. That's what he got. Needs more vision because Cloud9 right now, only with 2 sweepers, has done a great job at shutting that vision down.
Yeah. Well, so much of it is on Eve. It's mainly pink wards that EG's been trying to place.
Yeah.
Those get taken down ever since Cloud9 has so much roaming and they've been doing so much back and forth. And then EG just keeps dying here. Look out, Pobelter. He's got his ult.
Whoa!
Didn't use it.
Trying to do what they can to get out and get that last bit of farm, that last bit of anything right now. They're being strangled. And the chokehold is really depleting the gold. 35,000 to 26,000 right now. And that turret's going to go down. Lucian sneaky from the side, trying to get some passive shots onto the turret, but EG's doing what they can to stave off the damage.
Yeah. All the move speed in the world for EG if they had an acceleration gate plus a Sivir ultimate. Won't do them anything when they're down 10,000 gold like this.
Know that they got a little bit of scaling to do. That Sheen is onto Pobelter now. He can start doing big damage, but when you start the fight at 50% health, it is not going to be a good outcome. Think card being grabbed up there. Cloud9 with a little back and forth on who they were focusing. They don't get the turret or a kill there, but they're still in an all right position.
They can continue to do this. There's a big wave in the bottom lane. High's going to go take that down with Zed. So assuming this goes through, EG is going to move into a tie for last in the NALCS. And Cloud9 will still be 1 game. I think it was a canceled Pantheon.
Yep, stopped it.
Yeah. Cloud9 will remain 1 game back at TSM. So these teams really just tooling up. You're really starting to notice the upper echelon of North America and then the teams at the bottom. There is a pretty big discrepancy in North America. Unlike Europe, which is a very even league with just Millennium down at the bottom. Much different set. Is that all?
Yeah.
RNA as well. Actually, longtime League Pro announced his retirement today, or stepping down from Millennium. I wish him the best of luck. He's been a very, very great presence for the League of Legends scene. Really passionate player.
A lot of energy. Always provides a great atmosphere for the team and for the fans. Cloud9 trying to give their fans another win. 5-0 in turrets, 3-13. That 3 kills for EG have been scramblers, really going to Pobelter in some 2v1 situations, and we saw Robert actually picking one up in a pretty hectic fight for himself.
Yep.
Still waiting to build up though. EG waiting on that Lich Bane, waiting on a little more from Inox. We just saw a few games ago quite a yo-yo effect between both teams, and it went a lot longer than you would have thought at a 10,000 gold deficit.
Yeah. Cloud9 usually avoids the yo-yo effect, though, with how tanky Balls has been able to build up. This will synergize very well if they do decide to turret dive. Balls can go in and take the turret for themselves. A little bit of a duel down bottom here. Great ult by Pobelter, though.
Trying to deny vision in the brush. Whoa! There's a little bit of lifesteal for you as well.
So he did a really good thing there. Even though the Death Mark didn't do any damage since Pobelter ulted right away, he waited for it to come off. Then he used his Blade of the Rune King active and his full burst combo. So he saved all his spells and didn't use them into the kill intervention.
Mini wave getting cleared out there, calling a good amount of damage. Nice split, dodging that, going through the uprights with the Dark Binding, and everybody gets out safely on that as they wait for Pobelter to come back alive. He's used both summoners in that last engagement. Sneaky now has the Triforce in hand, so they're going to be crushing down turrets even harder as they come up to him. Now they're looking at the inhibitor turrets.
Still want to say that was a great play by High.
Yeah, see it again.
Look at this. And, Pobelter would have killed him during the duration of his intervention. He'd be fine. But you see how High just didn't use any spells. As soon as it's off,
he dodged out
on
an attack there.
As soon as gone, he uses everything. And you can tell Pobelter a little surprised by that post-intervention damage.
A little step in the brush caused Pobelter to balk out on a shot.
Yeah, really nice move.
Good little plays. Every little step counts, even when you think you're going to go down in the fight. See what they can do to continue pressuring on here in the mid lane. Lemon Nation just behind Sneaky, and I think this fight might come from a bait. We've seen Meteos on the back foot of Sneaky over and over and over again, with Lemon Nation even a few more feet behind.
Pobelter wants another try at this fight. Got his intervention up. High's a little bit low as well. Oh no!
No, that was a vision that they didn't see. Pobelter's going to be the one that's locked up on this. Not too much crowd control for him. He's going to be able to get a heal off for a bit of a speed steroid, but it's not going to keep him alive. Cloud9 in full control of the map, and now at the bottom lane. Oh, on
dear.
the outside.
Yeah, that was an unfair fight there by High in the bottom lane. So that's trouble. The split push definitely working here, and that's one of the reasons Eve is so good in these split push compositions, is you get in this habit of thinking it's a 1v1, and then, hello, Eve is there to ruin your day.
And it is looking grim for EG. Dying separately across the map, not having enough to guard here in middle. Cloud9 really working this methodically and surgically, removing all the structures and EG from the map.
Yeah, nice inhibitor play, and that's all because of the movements they were able to make. Sneaky also being able to solo out Inox. Very powerful Lucian play. Trinity Force giving him that extra chase potential. One of the underrated things about Trinity Force and AD carries, the move speed of Krantz.
And really with this, you can see the effectiveness that the core of Snoopy, Yellow Pete, and Crapo bring to the team. 25 minutes in, 26 minutes in, no turrets have been grabbed. They've kind of been able to, you know, jockey position for a few dragons, but Cloud9, all in all, has just had so much momentum. Yeah. It's unstoppable.
Well, it's EG with this substitute lineup.
Yeah.
Has problems against the organized teams. You can see the Pobelter's trying to make plays on his own. Inox is trying to make plays on his own. Think Cards, Robert, and Ken have all kind of been thrown together, so it was actually a perfect point for Cloud9 to attack in this game.
Yeah.
Let's pick the three guys that haven't really played together and are new to the LCS. They picked on them again and again. That's how Meteos got the majority of his gank kills. Sneaky and Lemonation are also the beneficiaries. Sneaky bought a straight-up last Whisper after the last time he backed. And even though we're 26 minutes in, the lead is gargantuan at this point. And Cloud9 will continue the split push game probably until victory.
And something that EG will have to figure out where they can get under the skin of Cloud9. Not going to be easy. Meteos is getting very big.
They want revenge.
Himself.
They want to kill High.
Waiting pretty long on the intervention here. Throws it on as soon as he knows the rest of the damage is going to be happening. It looks like he's going to be able to walk this one out. Almost gets in range. He's got enough lifesteal to do this. And he does take down Pobelter with him. Great play.
Fun little mind games there playing right there, but the whole time,
that's what we're talking about
was
today.
Using it as a Baron bait. Thinkcar's trying to Pantheon ult it. Let's see if he can get it. He might,
Thinkcar dives in. Oh, it's just too late, unfortunately. A great try by him. Balls has the dice to get over the wall. Ken's going to get a dark binding onto him. Inox has the black shield, but it's for AP, not the AD.
Stop culling bullets, unfortunately. He got culled, that's for sure.
Culling indeed.
Sneaky. Trinity Force works very well with the culling there. Since culling scales off of everything.
Yeah, and it hurts.
They got a lot of people dead here, plus a dead inhibitor. Maybe they're going to push for the win.
They don't have any minions on this one, but they do have a giant Renekton running up first in the front line. We'll see if he can be the tank that they need. And the minion waves are actually here to offer a little bit of assistance. The grab onto Pobelter. He gets the intervention down with the black shield, and they're going to be able to get out. The soul shackles only doing so much as they sackle the shoal of Ken himself. 20-4 in this one. Looking for the shutout on turrets, and it looks like Cloud9 can stay in the base a little bit longer, and maybe they have extended their stay on this one. Dishing out the damage. Lemonation on the backside gives a little bit of crowd control over to Meteos. It's what he needed for a triple. Balls on the backside was taking down turrets. He says, all right, now I'm here for the fight. The point blank hooks over and over for the ace. Cloud9, 28 minutes into the game, are going to pull out the victory. 24 kills to 6.
Yeah, they forced that one in at the end, but it was all worth it. They knew they had a huge lead, and even if they lost, they would still be able to win that game. So 28 minutes, 24 kills, domination by Cloud9. Subdued reaction, too.
Yeah, very well played.
All right, I guess we won that one.
Got what they wanted.
Good job, guys.
Came out strong. High got Zed. We've known him as a very strong Zed player. Balls on Renekton. When has he not played Renekton or Shyvana?
Pretty much.
These guys had their top tier picks coming in here. Meteos bringing out Evelyn as well. He's already a terror on champions you can see. So give him somebody visible.
A casual victory there for Cloud9. Tough for the substitutes of Evil Geniuses to try and come in, having to face Cloud9 and COG at the same time.
Yeah.
Although, High got to have a little bit of fun. Those 1v1s against Pobelter were a sight to see. He lost the first one, and came back twice afterwards to say he took the series 2-1 as far as 1v1s go.
And even like the added